Well, good afternoon and welcome to Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Managing Broker Dan Edwards with Keller Williams Eastside. I'm super excited for today's episode. Today is actually Thursday, so it's the first podcast we've done on a Thursday, and it's July 11th. We've been gone a little while, enjoying our summer here, but we're going to have a great show for you today. First off, we're going to start talking. Please do subscribe, like, share. All of those things on podcasts, whatever it is, share it with your friends if you find this interesting. We're going to have a really good show today. The first thing, Tucker and I are going to combine our Real Talk and Mortgage Moment segment into a house hack conversation. We're going to talk about what it would look like as a first-time home buyer buying a duplex and what that process looks like from a financial standpoint with a real actual deal that is possible. So, and if you love this, please comment in the share. And if you have any questions or you want to know if you could find something like this where you're at, we can connect you with somebody. So I'm going to run our Real Talk bumper, and we're going to welcome our good friend Tucker Maxwell here in one quick second. All right, welcome back. Hey, Tucker, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Dan. How you doing?
It has been a little while. We were enjoying some holidays and stuff like that. What have you been up to?
Enjoying the sunshine and the heat that we've been having. So getting out on the lakes, getting the paddle boards out, and trying to drop the handicap on the golf course.
Very nice. So you're a paddle boarder then, huh?
I am, yeah, aspiring paddleboarder. I spend more time in the water than I do on the board. But
is it a challenge?
Lake Washington definitely presents a challenge, but Lake Desire, a little more my speed.
I gotcha. So finding a nice quiet lake, do you do that thing where you stand on your head and the leg's straight up?
Yeah, I try it, but that definitely results in me landing in the water.
That's awesome. I would say this, that we are in the thick of what makes living in the Pacific Northwest so amazing. 70 to 80, it got up to 90 degrees. Oh no, people kind of start to wilt there. But like you said, getting out on the lake, walking the course, going for hikes, taking the ferry. This is like the height of that. I don't even know. Why are we here? We should probably leave now, go play. I'm going to definitely go outside after this, but because I got to get to my car and do more work, but that's just another story. So today we've been talking about doing this for some time, and this is kind of like the house hack / investment thing. So, a lot of people are saying, hey, buying my first home, it's really difficult. I'm not really sure how I could get with house prices being so high. And here's my message to those out there feeling this way. I hear you, and I wish it was different. However, it's not. And so how can you get into the housing game? And the truth of the matter is home prices will continue to appreciate for the foreseeable future for one simple reason, and that simple reason is supply. There's just not enough supply. We do not have enough homes out there. So until something changes, some dam breaks, yeah, we're seeing lower transactions, but we're also seeing fewer homes come to the market. So until something changes, you need to figure out, be creative. Get a condo, maybe find a condo that's somewhat affordable. In this example, we're going to show you how to, basically buy your first 2 investment properties. So yeah, let me bring the, I don't want to give away all the stuff right up front, but I'm looking for an email. Hold on a second. There we go. And let's go like that. And I actually haven't checked to see if this one is still, let's see, share this tab. Okay, so this is a off-market deal. That means you can buy this from me, and I'm not sure if it's still available. I'll have to double check because I actually did this workup. But it is a 5-bedroom, 2-bath duplex in Everett, and their asking price is $648. Okay, so you guys can all see this, right? You can see that. I'm sharing it.
We can't see it yet.
Oh, thank you. I was just thinking. Wait a minute. I have to go to that. There we go. I should put it up on the screen like that. There we go. All right. So this, sorry, folks. So this is an off-market deal. There's people that they dial for dollars, they get this. So it's not on the MLS. This is not something that I am marketing. It's just something that was marketed to me. And I think it might be on the MLS, but 318 Bedrock Drive, Everett. And actually that was something I was going to check. Okay, I've read this. 3.
Yeah, it's on the market.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. So, and it's on the market for 600,000. So this is even better. Okay. It actually just went on the market. Whoa, that's so weird. So weird.
Yeah.
All right. This deal is getting better. So this is a real live deal. You can buy today. Reach out to me if you want to, because I think this will be really surprising to those out there that don't think that they can afford to buy a house. So, yeah, here's the sharing the step. So there's the listing, 600,000. So we should revise our purchase price, shouldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe it'll go higher, but that's all right. Okay. So, first off, let's talk about, how somebody can afford to buy this property. So, let's say you're sitting there going, hey, Tucker, I want to get into this. How can somebody afford $600,000? That's a pretty reasonable price. But what's going to be the mortgage, and how is it that somebody could actually make that more affordable? And here's the solution: is number one, is there are tenants in this property already. Okay. Number two, we're going to consider buying this as a primary residence, right? And this property, on my investment analysis, is what's called it's got 2 units, 3x1 and a 2x1. So I'm going to throw this up, this investment analysis. I don't know, we're going to try and make this bigger so that more people can kind of zoom in on this. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Tucker? Okay, cool.
Yep.
So what we've done is we've put a purchase price at 600. My guess is that they're looking to probably try and get multiple offers on this property. They first come, first serve. So anybody could write an offer on this today. But with a $600,000 purchase price, you've got a down payment, 5% down. Now, earlier, Tucker and I were talking, and you told me what about the down payment?
Well, if you're trying to buy this as an investment property down the road, your minimum down payment requirement would be 20%. But if you're buying it as an owner-occupied property, you can reduce that down to 5%, which 5% of 600,000 is 30,000. So minimum down payment significantly decreases, and you get in with less money out of pocket right off the bat.
Yeah, so 5% down, boom, right there. That's $30,000. So you're changing it by a factor of 4, reducing it by a factor of 3, actually, or 3 times 4, 120, whatever it is. Yeah. So now it's $30,000. Now, is there a way to not have to come up with $30,000?
There is, in the Tri-County area of Washington, so King, Pierce, and Snohomish County, we have Washington State Housing Finance Commission that offers down payment assistance, which will cover that entire down payment requirement for you. And as long as you're a first-time home buyer and meet their requirements, they'll cover that, which will reduce that down payment requirement to nothing.
So essentially, you're doing 0 down now at this point. And then how do you afford it, right? So I'm going to slide down here. I actually I didn't put any repairs, because if you look at the property, it's actually in pretty good shape. Here, let's take a look at the photos online here. Share this tab. So if you kind of look, again, it's okay. So it's got tenants in it, but look at the granite countertops, look at the backsplash, look at the vinyl flooring. It looks like original cabinets, but it's chock full of stuff. The carpet looks a little, but maybe you could clean it up a bit. That's one unit. This is washer and dryer in the unit, so that's good. Okay, look at the bearskin rug. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. It looks to have good bones, though.
Yeah, it does. And actually, the only thing I see would be paint and carpet is what I would do in this property, right? See, that's the second kitchen, paint and carpet. So, so on one side, it's got a 3-bedroom, and on the other side, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. And there's the rents. So the rents are, you can't maybe make that out, but 1,700 for the 2x1 and 2,200 for the 3x1. I'm guessing you might be able to push that a little bit. But as we look at this, the monthly mortgage payment, principal and interest at 7% is 3.991. Is 7%, is that about right, Tucker?
Yeah, and that covers down payment assistance and not, but 7% is a good ballpark for today.
Okay. And then essentially from that standpoint, then you've got on top of that, you're going to add, what is it? Principal, interest and property, or what's
taxes and insurance. So at 7%, borrowing 530 or 570,000. At 7%, your principal and interest payment 3,792. If we assume property taxes of, let's call it 450, and homeowners insurance of 150, that gets us to an all-in payment of, on the fly here, $4,392.
$4,392. Okay, so I'm going to put that number on the screen just so we can kind of see that. Now, if you go down here, they were saying their rent that they're getting currently on this property is 1,700 and 2,200. So I'll go back to this one here, and 2,200 and 1,700. Now, as you know, as an owner occupied, right, you're going to be paying a mortgage, right? So there's the mortgage of 3,000, and then subtract the rent, which is 2,200 of the 3x2. You're going to live in the 2x1. Now, if you wanted to go the other way, you got to go the other way. So whatever works. But essentially, the amount here is, where's my equal?
Yeah, so their responsibility would be what, 2,192.
2,192. Now, what's your income qualifications then? Do you have to qualify at this income, the 4,000?
Nope. So we're going to qualify them off of essentially their portion minus a vacancy of 25%. So with your 2,200 there, we're going to only give them 75% credit for that 2,200. So we're going to assume that there might be some times between tenants. But essentially the borrower is only qualifying for the leftover mortgage payment after they collect that rent, which allows somebody to stretch their qualifications, get into a higher priced home today, relying on those rents.
Yeah. Roughly, what would the income qualification be in order to qualify for this house?
Get back into that real quick here. So let's call it.
I can see his brain working. It's pretty cool. I feel like I should put on the Jeopardy music.
So I would say roughly 72,000. And how I got to that is I just kind of quick on the fly math here. I just assume, like, let's assume that they're responsible for $3,000 a month in monthly payment, give or take. They need 50% debt to income ratio. So we would assume that that individual would need to bring in $6,000 a month before taxes, health insurance, 401k contributions. So before taxes, we would need 72,000 a year in order to qualify for this home at 600,000 because of the ability to rent out that other property. Whereas if we didn't have that property, this person would need to probably qualify with well over probably $100,000 in income to qualify for the same property.
Yeah. So look at that. So, and here's what I like about this scenario. And then I'll tell you the problem with it. The problem with it is people don't want to live that way. Most people, they don't want to live next to somebody that close that's their tenant. And so I can understand that. However, if you think strategically and, if you live like nobody else lives today, in the future, you're going to live like nobody else does, right?
Has the ability to.
Yeah. And like, if I could take myself and go back to my 20s and say, Dan, buy this house in Seattle for $220,000 and rent it to your stupid roommates. Like, I had that opportunity. and that house is over probably close to 2 million now, right?
Oh,
So here's the other thing I'm going to say is this home will appreciate. It will not appreciate at the same rate as a single family home. So, currently at 600,000, in the future it may only get to a 4% appreciation when the rest of the market is doing 6, or say a 5% appreciation when the rest of the market is doing 8. I'm trying to be conservative because I don't like to overpromise, especially since I don't actually have a crystal ball. So yeah, that's one deal right now that somebody that's making $75,000 a year could move into a house and have instant investment property and start. I mean, it's just so powerful. So powerful. So I'm going to share this on Instagram. If you reply Duplex in this Instagram post, I will get you some more information, not only on this one, but any other one. So cool. Anything else you want to add? I know because we've had a couple of weeks away, anything you want to add with regards to what's going on with rates and the market and the bond market and all that jazz?
Yeah, so CPI data came out today. It's something that you and I have talked a lot about, and it looks to be
Hold on. For our listeners, what does CPI stand for?
The Consumer Price Index. So a collection of 100 common goods that are sold in the market. They track the price of those common goods. So think gallon of milk, things like that.
Is that inflation CPI? Is that what that is?
Yep. It's tracking it. Our prices going up, or are they going down? And they just want to control it so we don't have super inflated prices that impact U.S. households. And it's been a big focus of the Fed. They saw that inflation increase, which rightfully so. If we put in an influx of cash during COVID into the market, the result is inflation. So then we needed to kind of bring that back to reality. And so that's what the Fed did by raising rates. Now they've been monitoring inflation data to say, hey, have we done enough and can we bring rates back down? And so they've been targeting a 2% annual inflation rate. And over the last few months, we're right there. Today it showed 3%, which is really, really close.
That's way better compared to where it was a year ago.
8% we were at before. And so a lot of industry folks think that the Fed can possibly cut rates. And so we think that could occur later this fall. And so it's just a good time. So the long story short is, if you are a buyer on the fence, I would not wait to get in the market until rates come down. Once that occurs, there's going to be an influx of buyers that all flood the market at the same time. Thus, back to your point about supply, we're going to increase the demand based on lower rates, which is going to drive home prices up. So if you've been on the fence, I would say buy now, secure this price, right? We just saw this home was listed, at 650 on the off market, comes to market at 600. That's a price right there. This is a deal. So secure the price of 600,000, refinance when rates come down, versus if rates come down, this home trades for 700,000 with multiple offers.
So, and somebody can buy this as an investment property. So if they have $130,000 sitting around, they're going to get that cash flow. I would say that from a cash flow standpoint, let me just calculate this on the 600,000, because I don't know that it's positive with only 130. Let's go 20% down. Yeah, it's not quite.
I would say
it's negative.
Full monthly payment would be $4,233. So you'd be underwater a little bit on a cash flow basis
if you were only putting 20% down. So how you fix that to make it cash flow positive is you put more down. Put more down until it's cash flow positive. You should be making a couple of $100 per unit in profit, at least, just for it to make your money work properly. Don't invest with negative cash flow. That's just stupid. Right. Because people will do that with appreciation. So actually I should change that. It's not stupid, right? It's not. There is a way to do it, but you better make sure you're going to appreciate, or you're going to improve that property. You're going to raise rents. You're going to do something to the property that helps you bring it positive soon.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say maybe, do a rent analysis. Is there any opportunity to increase rents?
Yeah, I always say if you're going to buy something that no matter what, you should do 3 things to it to improve it in order to be able to raise rent, period.
Yep.
Just a nominal $50 a month. Maybe one thing you could do is, include internet access or something like that, something that you can kind of provide for free or low cost that helps you improve the ease of access. So
Totally.
cool. All right. Tucker, awesome. Thank you for coming on. And I didn't splash your banner, but everybody knows how to get a hold of Tucker. Here's his phone number, 425-757-9202. We're going to take a short commercial break. Then we're going to welcome our friend Dexter Borbe with, I don't have my notes in front of me because I'm on this. Sorry, Dexter. It's the name of your company is on the tip of my tongue here. Here it is. My notes. It's Interim HealthCare of Bellevue, and he's going to be joining us after this short commercial break.
Are you worried about your health holding up as you age? Buying a new home often involves paying your mortgage for 15 to 30 years, and you'll need to be at your best to keep working strong as you age. Cummins Chiropractic and Wellness has helped families just like yours regain optimum health as they work hard to provide for their family. The team at Cummins Chiropractic and Wellness treats patients with both crisis care and lifestyle care with our state-of-the-art individualized services. We have seen thousands of people reach and maintain their best health as they age. To learn more about how chiropractic can help you achieve your best health, you can call Cummins Chiropractic and Wellness at 425-590-9158 or reach us online at cumminschiropractic.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dan Edwards, and today we are joined by Dexter Borbe with Interim Health Care of Bellevue. Dexter, welcome to the show. I'm going to give you your introduction here. He is the owner. After a career in operations and general management in various industries, Dexter opened Interim Health Care of Bellevue to help those who are elderly, frail, recovering, or suffering from chronic conditions to remain safe and comfortable in their own home. So Dexter's been on the show before, but I do want to welcome you. It's good to see you, by the way. And let's just start with the basics because it has been a little while. What does Interim Healthcare do?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me again. Interim Healthcare is a company that provides home care, home health, hospice, and staffing services nationwide. The franchise that I own here in Bellevue, we focus on home care primarily. And we are ramping up our medical staffing
in home care, basically.
In
right?
Home care, yes.
Got it.
We
So
provide
why?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Why did you start this franchise?
Yes. Well, I started this because I wanted to do something that makes a difference in people's lives. I wanted to work on something where, at the end of it, when I look back at what we've done, I can have a sense of fulfillment that says we've made a difference in people's lives. It made them, for the better.
Was there an experience or something in your past that kind of made you see that that's something that you really care about?
Yes, it's very. My grandmother was catatonic for the last 2 years of her life, and she basically ended up in that situation because she, like many elderly people, she lived in a home that had a lot of clutter. She had a fall, and after that, it was very sad that when I visited her, she clearly could hear what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
She cried, and I held her hand. She cried, and it was a really sad situation for her to be in. It was. I was thinking to myself, if she had better care, if she had somebody with her to help her during those years of her life, maybe she would not have had that accident. Maybe she would have been safer at home, and she would not have spent the last couple of years in that manner.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you for sharing that personal story. I know that sometimes we just do our business and go about it, but I'm of the school of thought that if you don't have significance in the work that you do, you probably don't really enjoy what you're doing, right?
No.
I mean, if you don't, you're probably in the wrong profession. So, thanks for sharing.
This industry requires passion.
And as you were talking, one of our previous guests is a decluttered, deorganized downsizer, and it's like I'm sure you have those resources too. But I get calls usually in January when people spend time with their parents, their elderly parents, and they're like, we need to do something. So I think the services in home is so important because people are so attached to their homes. I know this because I help people buy them. And then when it comes time to sell them after 40 years, I just talked to a gentleman, and they've been planning it now for probably 2.5 years, and they still haven't moved forward because their soul is ingrained in that home. And so while I certainly think that there is times where that needs to pass to a new family, there's also time where you need to let people be there in their home if that's important to them. So I don't want to talk people out of being clients for you,
Yeah. And actually, from a real estate perspective too, Dan, you might have families that are looking to buy a home with an ADU where mom and dad can be. And with in-home care services, they can have that periodic support for mom and dad so that the mom and dad don't necessarily have to move to an adult family home or to an assisted living community. They can be at home in an ADU with you, and somebody can come and help them on a regular basis. And it takes a burden off of the family. It gives the spouse some respite from caring for a loved one. So we try to think that we are helping people have more options in the way they live as well.
So let's talk about the hows. How does Interim Healthcare help people stay safe and comfortable?
Yes. So predominantly in our home care business, we provide caregivers that assist people with what the industry calls activities of daily living. That's bathing, dressing, grooming, feeding, ambulation, transfer, and continence. Right. And oftentimes those are things that you and I take for granted. We do it every day without a problem. But imagine being unable to do even just one of those things on a regular basis without assistance. And that would significantly impact your quality of life.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the time I had knee surgery, right? And you're kind of holed up, and how hard it can be to get in and out of bed, right? And it's that's just me being a wuss, that's not even, getting older,
No, imagine the lady who has a hip replacement surgery. Maybe her husband can help her get out of bed, get her have breakfast, but after he leaves for the day, what does she do? Right? How does she get to the bathroom? How does she eat? How does she move around? And that's where caregiver support can come in.
Is there a stigma around having a caregiver come over?
I would say that it's not so much a stigma. There can be. I mean, there are many older adults, of course, who don't want to be a burden on their children, or who don't want to, or might be embarrassed to let their neighbors see a caregiver coming to help them, right? But I would also say that it's becoming more and more common and more accepted. There are people who get surprised when we tell them, "Oh, by the way, we also help your neighbor across the street." that caregiver that your neighbor has, that's our caregiver, and then they basically, "Oh, it's not that bad, it's not that uncommon, right?"
Let's talk about this. What kind of caregivers do you hire?
So all of our caregivers are licensed caregivers. They have a license from the Department of Health, either as certified nursing assistants or certified home care aides. We do a 50-state criminal background check, a 12-panel drug screen. We require a written test as part of our application, and they're required to have first aid CPR, right? So we send basically professional caregivers to help people. Our performance as a company depends on the performance of our caregivers in the field. So we want to make sure and vet that we have good caregivers who are qualified to take care of the people they're taking care of. Right. Some of them have other certifications around nurse delegation, around mental health or dementia, or around diabetes care. And so there's additional training that we help provide so that they're prepared to take care of somebody, let's say, with an ostomy bag or a catheter. Right?
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. So obviously, there's a pretty serious vetting process. That's great. So kind of walk me through how you work with the client.
How do you work with clients? Typically, we make sure that there's an in-person assessment because we want to understand the functional limitations of the client. As part of the process, we're making sure we have the right care plan for them. Right? Not all clients are the same, and we want to make sure we have a caregiver with the requisite skills to care for the client and their needs. We want to make sure we account for any issues they may have, and so we add those little things to the care plan. The little things add up to big things on an ongoing basis, right? We typically try to assign caregivers on a regular basis to the same client. We don't try to send multiple different caregivers. We want the caregiver and the client to form a good relationship because it makes the client more comfortable, and frankly, the caregivers too, right? They become more proficient when they're familiar with the client's preferences, needs, wants, habits, and difficulties. So it might in larger cases we might not have the same one caregiver all the time. We might have 2 or 3 caregivers across the week, but every week it will be the same 2 or 3 caregivers rotating.
I see. So yeah, they may have different ones, but they'll have them the same ones for the long-term care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say Maria comes for Mondays to Wednesdays every week. Every Monday to Wednesday will be Maria.
Oh, I
right?
see.
Unless, of course, there's she has
Thursday,
to
Friday, maybe so and so.
And Saturday, Sunday, another person.
And
yes.
I suppose you never get phone calls like saying, "I like Maria, I want more Maria," or less. You probably
we can accommodate that too.
okay.
Of course, there's we can accommodate that as well, and we'll try to work with if they like Maria, we'll try to work with Maria, and see if we can't assign her more hours or more shifts with this client.
Okay, and then typically these caregivers, it will depend on the where people are at. Now, you've been on the show before, so we have talked about this, but what is different since then?
I would say that we've grown a lot since then. I think we're up to about over 370 caregivers now.
Wow.
In our portfolio. We also do have work on nurse delegated care, which is taking care of patients with more acute requirements that a nurse has to supervise the home care for. We perform that as well. We've grown our organization internally. I think we hear from the industry that a lot of agencies are having trouble hiring caregivers. We actually don't. We moved all our recruiting dollars to the staffing side of our business, and we're still getting a lot of applications. We're onboarding about 8 to 12 caregivers a week.
Oh, wow.
All on word of mouth. So we're proud and happy about how that's happened.
Yeah.
And so we're ready to move on a dime and and help provide care.
Well, it's definitely going to be something that is needed. As those boomers are getting less able to move out and wanting to have care. Okay, so then
last year we had our survey. The audit from the Department of Health. They hadn't audited us for a long time because of COVID. They stopped auditing for a while. So they audited the last 3 years worth of cases. And we came out with a perfect survey, a deficiency-free survey. So that's something we're also very
amazing with that many care providers and having not even a little bit. That's really amazing. Way to go.
Thank you.
That answers my question: is why should people choose? I mean, because the state is like thumbs up. Well, all right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think having a situation where we have a lot of caregivers applying to work with us and wanting to work with us allows us to be able to pick and choose the right caregivers for the case, for the client. We are, and as I mentioned, over the last 3-4 years, we never took our eye off of quality, right? Even when there were no audits or surveys going on, we still maintained our standards, and then that paid off, right? So we do care a lot about, we care very deeply about what happens in the client's home. Our reputation depends on the performance of our caregivers when they're there, and we take pride in, even when clients end care because of good outcomes, because mom no longer needs the care, she has recovered. That for us is a fantastic outcome, right?
Awesome.
So yeah.
Okay, so what's next?
So what's next for Interim Healthcare here? Of course, we continue to work on this. We also already now work with the VA. We're going to get certified with Medicaid to serve Medicaid clients in home care. We're working on that. It's not here yet. We're ramping up our medical staffing business. We have done it in and out. We've staffed the Bellevue School District. We've staffed a few of the skilled nursing facilities in our area before with nurses, and but now we're going to make a very deliberate push to grow that business. We will also apply for our home health license. So that's the license to be able to provide skilled nursing procedures at home. And so we'll apply for it this year. We hope it will be granted. When we apply this year for next year.
So it sounds like you have a little bit of a secret sauce when it comes to finding the right people, like to be able to find a lot of people, and B, have, great reviews. That must be one of your superpowers, is finding the right people.
I'm blessed that we have a very good team here in the office. It's not just me.
Gotcha.
We have a great team here in the office, and I don't believe in a secret sauce either. I think that when success, and you know this very well because I know you work very hard, Dan. When success happens, it happens because of an accumulation of efforts that are consistently applied in a conscientious manner, that leads to a quality operation. So I know that we're not perfect. We still need to improve on a number of things, right? But we're always mindful of it, and we're always trying to do better ourselves.
Well, I really thank you for coming on the show today. And I mean, it allows me to highlight, to folks that I'm coming into contact, that they have options available to them. So, Dexter, is this the best way for people to get a hold of you? Your phone number there?
Yes, that is my phone number. And yes, they can call me, and I'll make sure the right person in our organization is assigned to their case. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Yeah, you bet. I'm going to bring Tucker back in. We're going to send us all off with it. We do the same thing. What do we got going on this weekend? What are you doing? Anything fun? Dexter, you doing anything fun?
I will have to ask my wife.
Smart guy. Yes. Okay. If the wife says you have fun, you're going to go have fun. I love that.
Yes. Whatever fun the wife wants to have. So.
How about you, Tucker? Oh, you're muted, brother. I don't know why. You're muted.
Boom. Sorry about that. We got the Revivalists in concert tonight at Chateau Ste. Michelle in Woodinville, which is my favorite band. So looking forward to that tonight.
Nice. What kind of music are they?
They're from New Orleans, so they're kind of a jam band meets funk, jazz, rock. It's a 7 or 8 person band, so they have all the instruments and kind of span multiple genres.
Tonight's gonna be a great night for a concert at the Chateau.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Probably some golf too.
And probably some golf this weekend. Yeah, I love it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. I appreciate it. If you want to be on the show, you can certainly reach out to me and the Seattle Real Estate Team's website. And if you want that investment property, give me a call. I'm Dan Edwards with the Eastside Real Estate Team, and this is my Seattle Real Estate Podcast. Bye. Have a great weekend.